So, it's a new season in Clash Royale, which means many people are going to be doing their very best to try and reach a new personal best in terms of trophies. Although, I bet many of you out there are facing a dilemma. What deck should I trophy push with? Well, in my opinion, the best archetype and deck for trophy pushing is going to be Golem Beatdown. It's fairly easy to play, and there isn't really too much to learn about it. Although there are a few things out there that really do separate good Golem players from great Golem players, and I will be showing you guys these tips and other nuances along with my top 5 Golem decks to use in Clash Royale. Hello everyone, my name is SolarFury, and this is a complete guide to Golem Beatdown, and let's go ahead and start out with some basic tips. Alright, so real quick, before we go ahead and get into the tips, real quick, I will throw up some timestamps on the side, so that way you guys can skip to the different sections of the video if one thing is more appealing to you guys than the other, and also you can go back into this video and rewatch certain parts if you want to. So as I said, let's go ahead and start out with some basic tips. Golem is the most expensive archetype in the entire game, with most decks having a cost of at least 3.8 or 3.9 elixir at the very least, and some can go up to like 4.5 or 4.6. This means that managing your elixir in single and double elixir is very important. Basically, in simple terms, the really only thing you want to focus on is don't play your Golem in the beginning of single elixir. You should always focus on making positive elixir trades on defense and gathering an elixir advantage when heading into double elixir. So that way, you can have an elixir advantage and go in for a big beefy push and just totally dominate on your opponent. Another important thing to note is that it can be okay sometimes to take a lot of damage on a tower or even like totally sacrifice a tower. Tower trade situation. Although you should only do this if you know for sure that you can, do a lot of damage to your opponent's tower. The last basic thing that I think is very important to understand when playing Golem is never ever give your opponent some good spell value. So when you build up a big push behind your Golem, say with like a Night Witch, a Baby Dragon, or a Lumberjack or something like that, try not to bunch up your troops. Start with the Night Witch behind the Golem, and then space out your Baby Dragon behind that, and then it's funneling a Lumberjack behind that. So that way your opponent doesn't get like some really crazy spell value, because you never ever want to give your opponent spell value when playing Golem, because you never want to give them positive elixir trades. You want to be creating the positive elixir trades. You never want to give the positive elixir trades to your opponent. So now, the last tip that I want to give you guys, I literally just thought about right now. Alright, never ever play Golem at the bridge during single elixir. I cannot tell you the number of times I have gone up against a player who has played their Golem at the bridge in single elixir, and I've just been able to 3-crown them on the spot right there. Sure, I may lose a tower, we may tower trade, but I just overwhelm him, and I just straight up take a tower. It's so punishable, because, it's a really big commitment, just straight up 8 elixir at the bridge, and, you can really punish it easy, so really, just don't do it, guys. Trust me on this one, okay? Now, just like any other deck that you play, you want to make sure that you pay attention to your opponent's card cycle. This, I feel like, is something that is very important to learn, as it can really separate good players in the game from players that are playing out in Los Angeles for different esports teams in CRL. While this concept may seem somewhat difficult at first, it really isn't that hard to master. It can take literally 5 minutes for you to master this concept. And there is really one simple trick to easily know your opponent's card cycle, at least for one particular hard counter that you're going up against. So let's just say that your opponent, let's just say they play a bandit at the bridge. Alright, this can apply for any card, but we're going to use a bandit as an example. In order for this player to get back to their bandit, they'll have to play 4 other cards to get back to it. So they'll have to play like a giant snowball, a ram rider, a baby dragon, and then a Pekka in order to get their bandit back in cycle. And that's really it, guys. That is how you can master your opponent's card cycle. Now, as I said, this is a very important strategy for any player in the game, but I feel like it's especially important for Golem players because it's important to know when your opponent has certain hard counters, such as a Pekka or an Inferno Tower in their cycle. So yeah, as I said, that's how you track your opponent's card cycle. Don't just apply this to Golem, apply this to literally any other deck you're going to play inside of Clash Royale. Alright, so this next section is definitely going to be the longest section of the video. And this is going to be how to play against certain hard matchups. So even though I'm going to be showing you guys 5 different golem decks later on in this video, all of these tips for these matchups can be applied to all of the different decks because they all have the same basic concept. You know, you got a golem, you got supporting troops, you got a few spells in there. So let's go ahead and take a look at some popular decks and archetypes that you might be playing up against. Let's start with the mirror matchup, Golem versus Golem, the ultimate showdown. Mirror matchups can be difficult, honestly, because if you make one mistake, it can cost you the entire game. Although, there is one particular tip that I can give you guys when going up against a mirror matchup. And that is, if your opponent plays Golem in the back, play your Golem the same lane as your opponent. This will allow your Golem to sponge for his supporting troops, while your supporting troops will take out his Golem, which can overall result in a counter push maybe, with your Golemites tanking for your supporting troops. Also, if you're playing a Golem deck with a Tornado, which most Golem decks do have Tornado, but there's some that don't. But if you are playing a Golem deck with a Tornado, definitely try to get a King Tower activation off of either one of your opponent's supporting troops or with your opponent's Golem. This can definitely be a key factor when looking at the entirety of a match, because King Tower activations, they just give you a little bit of extra damage, especially when going into double elixir. It can be the difference in a game. King Tower activations can. So as I said, mirror matchups can be difficult, but if you play calm, just calm down a bit, stay cool, and stay collected, and wait for your opponent to make one mistake, then winning really shouldn't be an issue. Honestly, the matches may extend to the last 30 seconds or so in overtime, but winning in all, or even drawing, shouldn't be a problem. Alright, so next we're going to talk about the old boy Royal Giants. Alright, Royal Giants can be pretty tricky as well, considering that most Royal Giant decks have some type of building such as a furnace and some type of big spell such as either fireball, poison, or lightning. Heck, I've even seen some Royal Giant decks with the rocket in it. This is honestly one of the situations where I feel like spacing out your troops is really important so that your opponent can't get any value with any of the fire spirits from the furnace or any lightning or rocket value or even fireball value with their big spell. Against Royal Giant is also another situation where I feel like taking some tower damage in single elixir can be okay if you're going to build up a big push behind the golem. Maybe play some light defense against the Royal Giant with just dropping a lumberjack or a mega minion on it, take some damage, and then focus the rest of your elixir to build up a big golem push. This is an important strategy against Royal Giant. This is how I play most of my matchups against Royal Giant, and I end up winning most of my matchups against Royal Giant because I overwhelm my opponent. Even though he may take a tower, I end up getting a 3 crown, definitely. And also, if you keep applying constant pressure in double elixir, you'll find yourself in a really good spot because they'll have to keep defending, and they won't be able to place any Royal Giants down in double elixir, which can be really, really good. This is one of the only situations where I feel like playing Golem at the bridge is okay. Honestly, this is about the only one. So, in conclusion, with Royal Giant, don't bunch up your troops. Try to apply constant pressure in double elixir, and you will pretty much be fine. Honestly, Royal Giant ain't that bad. Next, we'll talk about Old Faithful, Old Reliable 2.6 Hog, or really any Hog Rider deck in particular. This applies to any Hog deck, but it applies especially to 2.6 Hog. These matchups, I feel like, are some of the easiest in my opinion. All you really have to do is prevent the Hog from getting more than 2 hits at a time, get a King Tower activation with a Tornado, and take spell value on cards such as a Musketeer or a Cannon with a big spell. And then just go in, because especially with 2.6 Hog, there isn't much that your opponent can do with a Golem and 2 or 3 supporting units behind it, Because even if they Fireball does not kill a Mega Minion, Night Witch, Lumberjack, or, Baby Dragon. So it can be really difficult for your opponent to deal with that. Now there's one other deck that features a Hog Rider that I would like to touch on, and this is Hog Tornado. I've featured Hog Tornado a couple times on the channel, and it can be really devastating to some big pushes such as Golem pushes. An Executioner paired with a Tornado can absolutely wreck Golem pushes, and it doesn't die to poison or lightning, which is really bad if you are a Golem player going up against a Hog Tornado player. But there is one way around this, which is pretty logical, honestly. what I always do is try to go opposite lane of Executioner. You know, if they play Executioner in the back, I always play my Golem opposite lane, because then it's really hard for him to cycle back to his Executioner, because Hog Exunado isn't that cheap. It's like 3.5 or 3.6. So it makes it hard for him to cycle back to his Executioner, and also it allows you to take a tower pretty much. You know, if they don't have an Executioner NATO to defend, it can be easy to take your opponent's tower with that. We're going to talk about Pekka next. When playing Golem against the Pekka deck, most people get really freaked out because, you know, Pekka does so much damage and is, you know, almost a hard counter to Golem. I'll be straight up. Although if you play right, Pekka can be a fairly easy matchup. Pekka is probably the matchup, I don't know why, but it's probably the matchup on ladder that I go up against the most, and I've learned to counter Pekka pretty well. So I'll tell you guys what I do against Pekka. So what I usually do against a Pekka matchup is try to bait out any big spells they have, like a poison or a lightning. Usually using a card with something like an Elixir Collector or an Electro Dragon. Those are both really good lightning bait cards. Then after that, I'll usually play a Golem in the back, and my opponent will usually respond with a Pekka going down the same lane. So, you know, I'll just continue going about my business supporting my Golem with supporting troops. And eventually it just gets to a point where my supporting troops will do a good job of taking out the Pekka and his troops, such as like a Royal Ghost or an Electro Wizard or a Baby Dragon. And then I can keep using more supporting troops while the Golemites are tanking, and then bam, easy tower down. Now, of course, this scenario won't be the case every single time, but basically, if you can just overwhelm your opponent's Pekka with supporting troops, and then take spell value on your opponent's supporting troops as well, then you should really do fine against any Pekka matchup. Next up, we're going to talk about Graveyard. Now, if you're running a Golem deck with a Poison, just be sure to use that on the Graveyard every time. You're going to be just fine. Poison, direct hard counter to Graveyard, almost no damage taken. So if you just save that for the Graveyard, it's almost guaranteed that, you know, you're going to win if you don't let anything else stupid happen. Although if you don't have a Poison, it can be somewhat challenging, honestly. What I have found is that a lot of my losses come from when I'm going up against Graveyard and not have a Poison. I'll be honest, you guys. Yes, I do lose. Yes, I know. So what I try to do sometimes is, you know, use a Barbarian Barrel. It's one counter that is decent to a Graveyard, but it won't negate all damage possible. It'll actually allow quite a bit of damage to happen. So most of the time with Graveyard, I'll actually usually go for a tower trade if I'm not running a Poison. This honestly probably isn't the best thing to do, but it usually works for me because it, you know, overwhelms my opponent, and it can lead to 3 crowns because they won't have enough elixir to defend your push if they commit so much to just one Graveyard push. So yeah, Graveyard probably one of the most simple matchups to win against. If you have Poison, just drop that in the Graveyard every time, and if you don't have Poison, just go for a tower trade, and trust me, it'll work out for you. Last but not least, definitely not least, we will talk about what I believe is the hardest matchup for a Golem player, and that is going to be Lava Hound. For Lava Hound, I believe that one thing in particular is crucial. If you do this one thing right, I say you will win, you know, 8 out of 9 matches. Maybe 8 out of 10, you know? But this one thing is never cycle any of your air cards in the back. Don't do it. I know this thing is pretty obvious, but you would be surprised how many Golem players just nonchalantly cycle a Mega Minion in the back, and then their opponent goes opposite lane with a Lava Hound balloon push, and then it's GG, honestly. So, another thing that I like to do is play my Golem same lane as a Lava Hound. I may like to do this against something like Lava Clone, where they have a Flying Machine and a Lumberjack in there. And usually this will allow for my supporting troops to, like a Baby Dragon and a Mega Minion and Electro Dragon, to take out the Lava Hound, while the Golem soaks up damage from my opponent's troops. And this can lead to a counter push, honestly, because my Golemites will be tanking for everything I got rolling in. You know, Mega Minion, Baby Dragon, Night Witch, all that jazz. It'll lead to a big counter push. Another important tip that I like to give with Lava Hound is be smart with your spells. Most Golem decks have 3 or so spells, you know. Barb Barrel, Tornado, and either Poison or Lightning. Some don't have any damage dealing spells, but that's okay. But one thing, yes, be smart with your spells, definitely. So say your opponent plays a Lava Hound, puts a Flying Machine behind it. What I would do is don't immediately drop a Poison on the Flying Machine. Try to take out the flying machine with the Mega Minion. And then what I would do is if your Mega Minion goes down and then, you know, they play a baby dragon and the Mega Minion behind the Lava Hound, then I would take spell value, definitely. But you see, if you had played your poison on the flying machine, you wouldn't have anything else for all those supporting troops coming in. Because if you just play a Mega Minion on a Mega Minion and a baby dragon, that isn't going to cut it. So yeah, basically, Lava Hound, keep your air cards in your cycle, be smart with your spells, play Golem, same lane, and you should do fine against Lava Hound. Now I know that these are just 6 popular matchups that you might face, and there are many more matchups. There are thousands of possibilities that you can face on ladder every single day. Although I felt that these 6 matchups are probably, you know, they are the most prominent matchups that you might face when you're playing on ladder. So I just wanted to help you guys with these in particular, because I also feel like, you know, these can be some of the most difficult matchups, especially Lava Hound and Pekka. I would have put Bait on this list, definitely, but ever since the Inferno Tower got a lifetime nerf of minus 10 seconds, Bait has taken a pretty big hit, and I don't believe you'll see it much anymore. So now, we're going to move on to my 5 favorite Golem decks, and the Golem decks that I would recommend you guys play on ladder. Golem with Elixir Pump and Lightning. Elixir Pump has got to be my favorite card in this deck. It can give you a huge elixir advantage and can also act as a bait for a Fireball, Poison, Lightning, or Rocket. Classic Beatdown with Night Witch and Lumberjack. This is like the OG Beatdown deck that we've seen in the game for about 2 years, I would say. And the cheapest of the 5 decks I will show you at 4.0 Elixir. So if you like a slightly cheaper card cycle, then this has got to be the deck for you. Golem Double Dragon. This is the one that I use on a regular basis at the moment, and it is really fun to play. The Electro Dragon can provide some insane value due to the Chain Lightning and due to the fact that it can reset Sparky and Inferno Tower. Golem Goblin Hut Witch. This is definitely the most off-meta deck of the bunch. With this one, if you can get down a Witch with multiple Goblin Huts and a Golem in front of all that, you can easily overwhelm your opponent with all of the Swarm. And last but not least, Golem Double Prince. This deck definitely has got to be the best 3-crown potential. Getting a Golem down with both princes behind it is almost literally unstoppable. Now that I've shown you my 5 favorite Golem decks, I'm going to use my favorite one in some gameplay and implement the tips that I taught you guys in some live commentary. Alright guys, so we're going to be using my favorite deck, which has got to be the Golem Double Dragon without any big spell. And we're going to go ahead and take this into a live match right now and see what the heck we can make happen. Alright, so we have 2 GFA from Cloverfield. Good luck to you, sir. Let's go ahead and get right into this match. Alright, so our starting hand, we have pretty decent cards. We have all 3 of our air cards in here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to play a Mega Minion going down that lane. He played an Ice Golem. So in terms of that Ice Golem, what does that mean? Well, it could mean a number of things. It could be a Hog Cycle deck. Could be a freaking Expo deck. But judging from the Barbarian Barrel, it looks like this may be a Hog Earthquake deck. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to wait and see. Although the Musketeer makes me think otherwise. So right now we're just kind of rotating through troops. We don't really have anything else we can do. So we're going to go ahead and do this. We'll do an Electro Dragon here for the minions. Get them out of here. Dark Prince will take out the Musketeer. He missed the giant snowball on everything. So he's forced to play that Ice Golem to kite the Dark Prince. And then E-Drag will take out the Ice Golem. Maybe get some Chain Lightning. Doesn't look like it though. That's a little unfortunate, but it's okay. It's something we can deal with pretty easily. We'll do this right here and then a Lumberjack right here for the Bandit. And we'll take that out just fine and dandy. Lumberjack rolling in. We'll get a Raged Barbarian. Won't do much though. So yeah, I think we'll get a Mega Minion going for his minions. Okay, I know what this deck is. I'm pretty sure this is a bridge spam deck. If he has Prince, then I definitely know what kind of deck he's playing. But for now, yeah, it's still just, you know, whatever. He's just playing whatever. So we're getting close to double elixir. We haven't taken any damage. We haven't dealt any damage, which is definitely something that I like to see. Played an Ice Golem there. I guess that was to try to get me to bait out a certain card. But unless you play something behind that Ice Golem, I'm not going to do anything, boy. That's just the way it works, okay? You ain't baiting me that easily. We'll do a barrel here on the Musketeer, just to help out a bit, mainly for the Dark Prince. And we'll take out that Musketeer very nicely. And I'll play a Lumberjack for his Lumberjack. And now we are about to go into double elixir. We'll shut down that Bandit real quick. And then we'll play a Golem in the back. work a big push going. He hits me with the well played. I'll hit him with the thanks. You know, honestly, thank you. I'll play an Electro Dragon here just to stun down the Ram Rider. I'm not going to commit too much to it because I know I can build up a big push going down the left lane. So I'll just let the Electro Dragon deal with that, and we will be fine. We will be absolutely fine. We'll get a Baby Dragon going up here along with a Lumberjack. He has a Lumberjack of his own, but what we can do, we can get a Tornado, get all of this together so that way the splash damage from the Dark Prince and the Baby Dragon can take everything out. We got everything rolling in. The Golemites are tanking, the Lumberjack in, along with the Dark Prince. All of that goes in, and we are going to catch that dub. We're going to throw some pancakes in there, and we're going to be just fine. We only took one Ram Rider on the tower the entire time. So we are all good. We're gonna use the fish emote because I haven't really used that yet. Hey, we got a 3 crown. That was pretty dope, honestly. So that was a pretty good matchup. He keeps spamming BM because he knows that, you know, he's really sad on the inside. But yeah, that was definitely a good demonstration of the sheer power of Golem Beatdown. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today's video. This video was definitely a bit of a longer one. I haven't finished editing yet, but it should be probably around 20 minutes. But I hope you guys still did enjoy the video and learn some tips on how to play Golem Beatdown. And if you did learn anything or enjoy the video, definitely please be sure to leave a like. I would greatly appreciate that. If I can speak. And also, if you guys are new to the channel, any language you see, please be sure to hit that red subscribe button. We are almost at 300 subscribers, and if you could hit that red subscribe button, it would definitely mean a lot to me. But anyway, guys, this is SolarFury signing off. Peace out, guys. Have a nice day.